Yes, you're listening to Business Podcasting Made Easy, the influencer's formula, where you get a roadmap to instant authority and thought leadership with a podcast that you're proud of on the IBGR radio network. This is episode 27. And today we're talking about the elevated infomercial, research, development, and choosing lucrative content. I am Donna Cundy, founder of the IBGR Network, Global Radio Authority, and podcast expert. And using this formula, we've produced almost 14,000 podcasts.
Oh, that's an amazing thing. And if you've heard the word infomercial already today, this is not about Ginsu knives. Don't worry about that.
OxyClean.
The whole deal, right? And I'm Ben Joy, a 3-time international best-selling author. My teachings have reached more than 50,000 people worldwide. Thanks to my book, thanks to leveraging my book, I should say books, and these same kinds of strategies and principles are what we're teaching throughout this process to help you get your podcast done in just 13 minutes at a time in just 13 weeks. So remember, you can easily follow the plan at influencersformula.com. And if you want direct live support from us for your business podcast, then contact us today at ibgr.info. Right. And I love this quote from Zora Neale Hurston. I took a test in high school and I called her Nora Zeal Hurston. So sorry, Zora, let me do this the right way now. And she says that research is a formalized curiosity. It is poking and prying with a purpose. So with that, welcome to the show.
What a great tease. That's really what we're going into here. And we're going to blow some minds, I think, to some of our listeners, because I know when I talk to our podcasters at IBGR, it totally does. What do you mean by research? What kind of research can I get from my podcast? And why is this important? Well, it's important to become a person worth listening to by doing your homework. Don't let homework scare you. It's easier than you think. And it's so valuable. Because if you think about infomercial on a podcast with this, which is audio, it's really kind of like a webinar. The format is like a webinar. A webinar is a video infomercial that you do. That's all it is. That's why a lot of people are like, oh, there's going to be a sale at the end. Well, yeah, people know that. You can do that with your audio as well, but not, yes, you can do it as you podcast, but think about it this way. Dun, dun, dun. Your listeners are like a focus group. Your listeners are like a focus group. You want to educate them and listen to what they want and what they download most. What's important about what they download most, Ben?
Because that will tell you what is important to them, what's relevant to them. And it even will point in the direction of, the not only the topics, but the actual language that's going to stand out for them as well, right? And sometimes, people think webinars, sometimes people think infomercials. I want to go back to the word educate here, right? If you do this right, and it's easy to do it right if you do what we say, right? If you do this right, just educate people. Right? Show them what's possible, show them the possibility, show them how to do it, show them that they too can make it happen, right? And then you don't have to sell anything. It doesn't mean you're not going to make the invitation. It doesn't mean you're not going to make your offer in whatever it is, but that it doesn't have to be, ooh, I'm trying to sell something to someone. No, I'm educating people in the realm of possibility in their business or their life, so they can make an informed, empowered decision about what they want to do and when. And then once again, thinking in terms of the focus group, look at their behavior, look at what they're downloading, because they're going to tell you what they want. I mean, this is the research and development right there, which makes it really easy for you to choose the right content for your audience.
Yes, thank you. We had said this a couple of episodes ago, that your listeners will listen with their eyes first. Mm-hmm. And when they listen with their eyes, what we mean by that is the language that you're using in your titles as they're scrolling. it will make them want to either continue to scroll or stop and listen and actually get the transformation that you're talking about and want to become your follower. And as you're looking at your download numbers, those numbers that there will be trends, and you'll see what they're actively searching for, what is getting them to stop scrolling and listen and possibly subscribe to you. And that is so much gold right there, because a lot of heart-centered, service-based entrepreneurs have a hard time getting the focus group. They know what their zone of genius is, but they don't know exactly where their ideal client, their ideal person is, do I want to say lacking, where they're struggling, where they're searching for an answer. They don't know that. And your podcast is going to tell you exactly where that is happening just by their activity, because they're engaging. That's engaging. Oh goodness, that's gold. Whether you're talking to them or not, they're engaging and they're telling you without telling you.
Exactly right. And why it's even better than a focus group, right? Because focus groups, a lot of times, if you ever have run one or participated in one, right, people are going to often answer your question in the way that you want to hear the answer.
Yeah.
So they can get out the door. And then there's the peer pressure of the other people in the room, answering questions in an appropriate way. You can eliminate all of that and get some real, straight up powerful data for your podcast and for how to serve your people best. So remember, we're doing this along with you. We're checking the data. So come be part of our data set. Please help us keep making the best podcast over here by subscribing to the show at influencersformula.com. And if you want direct support and help from us for your business podcast, contact us today at ibgr.info. Right?
That's good. Yeah. This research and development is not as scary as it can be, because sometimes even with the focus group, you're not sure that you even have the right people in the room.
That's true.
For what you want, but because you have people that are listening to your podcast and engaging, then they're telling you exactly that. And here's the thing, Ben, we're talking about this being a 13-week program for transformation. So we're telling listeners, suggesting to them that they do a season in 13 weeks that offers transformation. Well, when you get towards the end of your 13 weeks, then what? Do you not podcast anymore? What do you talk about? Well, I'll tell you what you talk about. Go and look at your downloads and see if, first of all, if the highest download of your last season podcast could be its own 13-week deep dive. Or are there 3, 4, 5 that are swimming around together that could kind of marry up into that transformation process? And your listeners are telling you exactly what they want for the next season even.
Yeah, really, really straightforward. And if you're still going, I don't know what you mean, right? Just think about if you've ever published blogs or sent emails, right? Like, what are the blogs that are getting the most readership, right? What are the emails that are getting the most opens and click-throughs? This is the same kind of strategy. Let the people tell you what they want and need and how they want it and need it.
Same with social media. When you do a post, are there crickets and nobody's doing anything? Do you get a couple of likes? Do you get some comments? In social media, the gold in social media is when people are commenting, right? That's what you really want, are the comments in social media. Well, when you look at the data of your downloads, that's like people commenting on your social media posts. That really is. You can't have necessarily the dialogue back and forth. You can't go back and make a comment to them necessarily, but you can see where they are engaging, and engagement is ultimately the goal towards transformation when you have engaged people in your listenership, because you know that you can sit a little taller to say, yes, I serve those people.
Yeah, beautifully said it. And I would argue that the downloads are much more revealing than the social media comments, right? Because chances are somebody is taking your podcast with them, whether it's on their computer, on their phone, right? That you are now in the mix with them. Whereas if they commented on something, they might have commented on something, and not to knock the comment and the engagement, right? But very often, once that happens, that's the end of the thought. Whereas you are now in somebody's pocket, hopefully for eternity.
Yes. And so as we begin to wrap up this episode, I want to just recap real quick where we've been over the last 3 episodes, because they kind of go together in the sense that there are 3 types of formats that when you sit behind the microphone, you can do the influencer interview style format in your 13-minute episodes. You can do the training content in your 13-minute episodes, or you can line it up as an infomercial where you are leading them to say yes to the transformation offer that you have, the next piece to that, the extra support and hand-holding, and kind of kick out the door sometimes to go do the work that's needed. And back to the quote that you had about planning, that's what this is, what these 3 are about, is planning before you get behind the microphone. Why are you doing this episode? Well, how are you going to repurpose this episode, and how is it going to most benefit you as the podcaster and your listenership? Where else should we go, Ben?
Gosh, I'm eager for the next part of this, right? Because this is one whole fabulous magical week, right? Where we're really digging into the monetizing, looking at the different ways to do it, and reminding you that it's not so scary. It's actually really easy to build your monetizing muscle, as we say, and to use the podcast profit playbook, as we like to call it. So be sure to subscribe to the show at influencersformula.com. And like I said before, if you want direct support from us for your business podcast, then contact us today at ibgr.info. And we are so happy to have you in the mix.
Yes, 100%. This is part of our passion, purpose, and drive, is to multiply the effect, which is what the podcast does, multiply the effect of transformation throughout the world. As we end up episode number 27, the elevated infomercial, this is about research, development, and choosing lucrative content. You've been listening to us on the IBGR network or on the recording of our podcast. I'm Donna Cundy.
And I'm Ben Joya. Stick around for the next one.
We'll be right back.